we just learned that Queen Elizabeth is dead. I think this guy on TikTok, Felonious Falafel, sums up how many of us feel about this lady.
Listen, guys, nobody's bloodline makes them better than you. Okay, that's not how anything works. You got to earn your position in life. If you're born into a position, then, I mean, it's just like another celebrity death. Like, they lost Queen Elizabeth, and we still got Queen Latifah. And the difference between them two is that Queen Latifah earned everything she has.
For many years, or maybe decades, I have been criticizing the royal family using the dishwashing metaphor. Like, none of these people have ever loaded a dishwasher or washed dishes or done a load of laundry or cooked a meal ever in their entire lives. And sure enough, in the Washington Post obituary, there's a line about she and her husband hosting people at one of their many mansions and doing the dishes after. Here's what I said about the dead queen on one of my many Twitter accounts. In her long and parasitic life, she inspired this song, and that's the only meaningful thing she ever contributed to society. And she's with God now.
Welcome to the Doomed Planet Podcast, Season 3, Ecocide.
Hey, it's Alex. This is Season 3 of the Doomed Planet Podcast. We launched January 2020. What a year that turned out to be. Season 1 was like Seattle history. I'm an amateur Seattle historian of sorts. And Season 2, Obituaries, that ended with Anne Hesh. Very popular on our stats for some reason, that episode from a couple weeks ago. No more obituaries, although we had to launch this episode with a tribute to the Queen. So here we are, episode 774, Season 3, Insect Apocalypse. You can guess where this one is going. I'm going back to what I started doing when I started this podcast before it all fucking fell apart. I had like a one-page template that has information about, okay, what's the title of the episode? What's the monologue going to be? There's going to be an obituary section, musical interlude, notes about the main topic. I want to try to keep these to a half hour or so, this new season, and do much more of them, I promise. So yeah, in our lifetimes, people who are alive today, or even people who are middle-aged today, we've seen a dramatic decline in insect populations, and kind of the awful thing that people relate to is, remember when we used to get in our gas-guzzling cars and drive around on the highway and the insects would just splat on the windshield left and right, and that don't happen no more. Many reasons. It's ecocide. What does that mean? What is ecology? It's not just plants and animals, it's everything. The landscape, rocks, sand, just the whole kit and caboodle. And as humans, we've done such a bad job of taking care of the planet since World War II, since Queen Elizabeth was a tot. It's gone downhill radically to the point where, without bringing up a bunch of tedious articles online, radical drops in populations of insects, 30% in a few decades, 50% some areas of various species. In Seattle, and we'll get to this a little bit, we're kind of up north here. There's not a lot of biodiversity compared to, say, a tropical rainforest. So not a lot of insects. I can count on one hand the number of times I've been bitten by a mosquito in Seattle in many decades. I don't know what to say here. I mean, is grim, people. I thought you thought obituaries were dark, and now season 3 is talking about, oh, let's do an episode about amphibians. They've been wiped out practically. What about that disease that bats get? Insects are important. They're food for countless creatures. Not just pollinating insects, of course, for our crops, but it's grim, people. Okay, taking a break.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Raid's here! Raid! 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 Raid!
Yes, Raid. New bug killer discovery from Johnson's Wax. Raid contacts and kills all kinds of bugs indoors. Raid hunts them down like radar. Sweeps bugs from the air. Attacks them as they crawl. And kills them dead.
Raid. What an ideal product for the post-World War II generation of Americans. And of course, we're trying to force our culture on everyone else too. But, with the theme of free real estate continuing, come up with this plan. Make mortgages somehow affordable or temporarily affordable, and move everyone out of the cities into the suburbs so they can drive great distances on highways, and then, pave over whatever was there, farmland, or, even, meadows, forests, farmland, and build these single family homes. And of course, there'll be insects there, and you want to kill them all with this poison that you spray at them that comes in a can and is advertised on television. Queen Elizabeth, actually not a tot during World War II. Wasn't she already a teenager? And, her lifespan, her life that ended today, she saw the decline of Western civilization. And I say that with a straight face. She oversaw that, or she witnessed it. She really didn't do shit in her life except ceremonial bullshit. And God, just reading today, all this mention of dukes and princesses and queens, and, fuck all that royalty shit. Raid was launched by S.C. Johnson and Son, great corporation, still privately held by the Johnson family. It makes all kinds of poison that hurts people and animals. Raid kills bugs dead. Yeah, I'm on their Wikipedia page. Here's some bullshit. In illicit use. In recent years, reports of heavy-duty bug sprays as an illicit drug have gained notoriety. Although products such as Raid are safe to humans when used as intended, the act of huffing, smoking, snorting, vaping, plugging, drinking, and or injecting Raid or other bug sprays can cause, problems. Some of the poisons manufactured by S.C. Johnson and Son Incorporated, Drano, Fantastic, it's a spray. Glade, it's a horrible spray of horrible chemicals. It's supposed to be a deodorizer. Saran wrap, Ziploc. Okay, so they do plastics. Of course, we'll do an episode about plastics. Household pest control. Yeah, they have Raid is marketed. The poison is marketed in other countries as well, under different names. Ridsect in Malaysia, F-Killer in Korea, Pest Rest in China. I followed up on that one. I couldn't find any pictures or more information about that product. And of course, if you want to keep your children safe and away from poisonous chemicals, Chemotox in Hungary. Okay, in March 2022, S.C. Johnson and Son faced public scrutiny after its decision to continue to operate in Russia, despite widespread sanctions in response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. No mention of how that was provoked by us. The company was reported to have stopped new investments and scaled back unspecified operations as of April Fool's Day 2022. I'd like to see what the Queen's mother country, how they're going to deal with this energy shortage, which is really a direct result of the American proxy war against Russia as being, held victimizing the people of Ukraine. God, that Zelensky creep is such a fucking prick. I mean, it started out all rosy for him. I think even the most ill-informed news consumer is going to start to wonder about this motherfucker. So much just horrible earth-killing poison is available to purchase, especially in the U.S. compared to the European Union, and then other countries in the global South and something with no regulations or complete corruption. Of course, the poison situation is worse. You can go to Amazon and get Ortho Bug Clear, insect killer for lawns and landscapes. Did I mention, I want to state the obvious here, a lawn, it's not exactly a desert, but it's not a diverse ecosystem compared to, planting a bunch of native plants in your yard. There is some need for lawns if you have pets or kids, but you can still landscape your yard so it's not just this barren monoculture. Ortho Bug Clear kills ants, spiders, fleas, ticks, army worms, and other insects. Outdoor bug spray for up to 6 months of insect control. Yeah, and you can go to Lowe's and just buy Roundup, glyphosate. You can just go buy it. You don't need to show ID, or they don't ask you what you're using it for. Just so crazy. And there's, the momentum to change all these horrible things, the horrible way we've lived since World War II is so strong. No, it's not. It's nothing. Seattle just outlawed gas-powered leaf blowers, which are polluters, single-cycle engine, horrible polluters, and, noise pollution too. So that's something, I guess. I mean, you outlaw those leaf blowers. They're upsetting the people who are also evicting homeless people and throwing away all their stuff, or standing by while that is happening and doing nothing.
Every spring, people strive for a beautiful lawn the same old way, with products that treat every lawn the same and can give you the same old frustrating results. Because lawns are different, ChemLawn has over 800 programs. We select the one right for your lawn and change it as your lawn's needs change. That's why we can guarantee to make it beautiful. ChemLawn, making America beautiful, one lawn at a time.
Seattle is a place of great gardens, and plants thrive here. They thrive in this climate. There's so many different types of trees and shrubs, berries, everything growing here. And then in our neighborhood, Italian immigrants a generation or two ago or three ago planted plum trees everywhere, and they're still around. And, I would encourage, again, we need radical change on an international scale as organized by governments. So all this, like, the little shit you can do, recycle your cup, is bullshit. On the other hand, this is something, if you're a property owner, that you can do. And it's easy. I remember when the pandemic started, the city stopped mowing parks and stuff. And there's a park near our house with a soccer field. And after 2 or so months of not mowing, like May 2020, that monoculture of grass for the soccer field, and yes, give the kids their sports fields, had grown up. Some of the stuff was 3 feet tall or more, and there was all sorts of different plant life in there. And I'm sure that was attracting, invertebrates and microbial life and stuff. different, flowers blooming, all sorts of grasses, weeds, they'd call it. It's a eerie but beautiful thing. There's a newspaper comic called Mark Trail. It's been around forever. Some of these run like Blondie. It's been around over 100 years, and they just get a new artist to keep doing it. Recently, the artwork became very crude. They switched artists. It's horrible, but there's some eco awareness here. The de-pavement movement is breaking new ground, says Mark Trail with a sledgehammer over his shoulders. De-pavement is the removal of paved ground to let the earth return to its natural ecosystem. Did you know that half the land in urban cities is paved over? Again, I'm reading a Sunday newspaper comic here. Pavement does allow for pedestrian, wheelchair, and auto access, but this much pavement destroys the environment beneath. So, yeah, plants soak up floodwaters, they provide oxygen, they provide habitat, they provide joy. I'd rather look at a park than some ugly, brutalist concrete building. So good for you, Mark Trail, but I like the both sides-ism, well, we do need auto access. No, we don't. Fuck all cars and send them to hell.
This is my friend Karen, and she turned this small piece of her grass lawn into a thriving native wildflower meadow in just 1 year. She first killed the grass by sheet mulching with cardboard and mulch, and then planted plugs and small plants in the spring of last year. And this is what it looks like now. She has upwards of 10 native wildflower species here that bloom in different seasons and attract different wildlife. And the wildlife are loving it. She saw a big return in pollinators like this bumblebee who can't get enough of that mountain mint, this monarch butterfly, which is now on the endangered species list, some swallowtails, she saw some goldfinches who love the seeds from this cup plant, and she even saw some hummingbirds who were visiting the cardinal flower in the background there. And just a reminder, you don't have to do this to your entire lawn. You can keep some space open while still creating great habitat and food for wildlife. If possible, we should all be trying to do something similar on our properties or in our parks and green spaces. Restoring native plants helps our ecosystem, and it helps combat the biodiversity crisis. And of course, Karen is on the map at Homegrown National Park, where she registered her 600 square foot meadow.
Yeah, do what you gotta do. People should at least try. You pull up in your gas guzzler to the ice cream shop and you leave the engine on so the air conditioning will continue, People think that's normal. That's so sickening to me. That's such a scene of violence and just, that's America for you. A scene of violence, we're inflicting pain upon the world, upon any other nations that don't toe the line. It's insanity. Capitalism is not going to solve this climate crisis. Everyone knows that. But you know what will solve the climate crisis? Oil.
I am oil, flowing from the depths of the earth, serving man in 1,000 different ways. I help communications on the land, sea, and air routes of the world. For ships, fuel oil. For aircraft, high-octane spirit. For cars and lorries, gasoline. For locomotives, diesel oil. I am all around you, in the surface of your roads, in the polish upon your floors, in the paints upon your walls, in the protection of your roofs, in the warmth of your homes.
in the warmth of your homes, where your government will soon be quadrupling the rate you pay for heating oil as winter approaches. Oh no, you pitiful island. Pathetic island. As pathetic as the Island Boys.
You know, my favorite type of weed was, cocaine. Cocaine.
Hey, we have some obituaries. Barbara Ehrenreich died. Great lefty activist and writer. Best known, I guess, by me for 2001's Nickel and Dimed on Not Getting By in America. That's where she goes undercover as like a middle-aged to elderly woman, you know, in poverty, you know, living at a motel, working at shitty jobs. Sort of elaborating on the 1975 book by Barbara Garson called All the Livelong Day. I think she goes and works at a few shitty jobs. All the livelong day, the meaning and demeaning of routine work. She works, I think, at a fish cannery in Alaska, the worst job possible. Anyway, the Barbara with the surname Ehrenreich, her son is really cool. And then she has this daughter that is a Beltway fucking Defense Department, you know, chud, like kind of a right-wing American Empire, Beltway, DC tool. But yeah, that's why you have more than one kid. You want one of them to work out. God, who else died? Sterling Lord, incredible literary agent. You know, the Berenstain Bears, that's his creation. That's sold millions and millions of copies. He published some of the beat writers, including Lawrence Ferlinghetti, another ancient dude that just died fairly recently. And of course, incompetent buffoon Mikhail Gorbachev, who ushered Russia into the current oligarch era, died.
Podcast, shout out.
Wow, it's been years since we did a podcast shout out. Looking on my trusty iPhone here, Bad Faith with Brianna Joy Gray. She was Bernie Sanders' communications manager during his last campaign. And Virgil Texas, haven't seen him in a while. Behind the Bastards.
What's up?
And if you want to snuff out human life on this planet, you know, what you could do is base our economy, our capitalist economy, on oil.
Freedom. We expect it in America. Freedom to choose the way we meet the challenges of life. Freedom to compete, to risk, to fail, and to succeed. No resource is more precious than freedom. It enriches our personal lives and the lives of those around us. And yet it can be taken away, if we allow it, by the same government that can assure our personal freedom. Something to think about from the people at Getty.
We moved into our South Seattle single family home over 15 years ago. And the place had been empty for a few months or longer, and it was in October, spider season, and there's so many spiders in the house, outside of the house too, but I think I counted half a dozen varieties of spider in the house, and then outside we had what are commonly called false black widows. Sort of looks like a black widow, but is smaller and doesn't have that red alarm mark on its abdomen. Wolf spiders, every kind of spider, and the biodiversity of our, ecosystem, or if you just count our plot of land as its own biosphere, it was incredible back then. We had a different situation. We moved in many dogs and many rabbits, I think, in the backyard. That kind of disturbed the situation, but lots of landscaping and rocks. I remember neighbor kid, he's off to an Ivy League college now, but this annoying Dennis the Menace kid, and when we first moved in, he was playing with our kids, and he was turning over all these rocks, and there were tons of animals under these rocks. These little tiny snails, wood lice, what? Hello?
Hi, just letting you know that me and Kat have left. We're going to movies now with her friends.
Oh,
and,
okay. Okay, if they want food, I can make something.
Yeah, maybe make some nachos or something later. That would be good.
Okay.
Okay, see you later.
Bye. Where the fuck was I? Oh, our backyard. Let me back up a bit. I lived for 10 years in a loft apartment, never had health insurance or a car, went everywhere by bike. Heating bill was almost non-existent because you're in an apartment, but some people need single family homes. I know in general it's bad, and suburbia as a concept is bad, but it's nice to have a yard. It's nice for families to live in a house. It would be better if we weren't so dislocated, if like grandma lived here too and did some of the dishes and shit, but that way of life has been wiped out. The only grandma doing dishes that I know of is Queen Elizabeth in hell. Yeah. Seriously, so, pill bugs or roly-poly bugs, those little isopods. We had 2 different varieties of those, centipedes, millipedes, slugs all over the place. A lot of earwigs. You have to love the earwig. I mean, people are afraid of earwigs. They have those pinchers on their abdomen, or butt, as they say. They don't hurt you. They're one of the few insects that actually take care of their young. Most insects lay, 1,000 eggs or whatever and then bail. These little guys, they will actually carry their youngsters on their back and, tend to the eggs and shit. So anyway, in that time, 15 years ago to now there's nothing. Now it's the most beautiful. Here's a secret for tourists. The most beautiful month to visit Seattle is September. It's been very dry. We've had, heat waves. So there's nothing. Like the front yard is more of an eco paradise because dogs and bunnies don't go out there. And sure, we got the flying insects and some gnats and flies, different wasps and bumblebees, and occasional honeybee here and there. We have yellow jackets and what are those bald-faced hornets. But in general, I've just noticed in our yard a decline in insect life. And again, without going to the tedious, mainstream press to look up these articles, do it yourself if you don't believe me. A dangerous and just frightening decline in insect life has happened. And there's just like climate change itself, like no one's doing a fucking goddamn thing to stop any of this. And capitalism is so strong that, at the best case scenario is eco-fascism. Replaces that, but that's grim, man. Anyway, the good news is that the queen died, and now the no more royalty, no more queens, no more princesses. God damn, I lost my train of thought. Podcast shout out, Bad Faith, Behind the Bastards, Tech Won't Save Us, Seattle's Own Mechanical Freak, Chapo Trap House, Minion Death Cult, Big Soy Naturals, Ralph Nader Radio Hour, The Dig with Daniel Denver, Useful Idiots, This Machine Kills, The Jimmy Dore Show, TrueAnon, Dosed, Trillbillies, and of course citations needed. Really, podcasts are a great thing because you can do whatever menial work needs to be done while listening at the same time. It's incredible.
Find out more at doomedplanet.com. Goodbye.
Hey, yo, Cheetah.
What's up?
I really want a breakfast that's decadent. Can we make eggs Benedict right now?
Yeah, bro, if that's a taste you crave, we can make a real simple hollandaise. Drop 3 egg yolks into a blender with some Dijon lemon juice and some cayenne pepper. Heat your butter up in a little cup. Stream it in while it's getting blended up.
Ooh, this is satisfying.
Yeah, that's cause it's emulsifying. Now it's time for the bread, but I don't fuck with English muffins, so we gonna use brioche instead.
Now that the bread is nice and toasted, don't we need to put some meat up on it?
Yeah, we need Canadian bacon, man, but in America it's just a piece of ham.
So what do they call regular bacon?
Bacon.
That's so confusing.
Yeah, now you gotta poach your eggs and put it on top of that ham and bread. Now get your hollandaise and get to drizzling.
Oh my god, my mouth is dribbling.
This is really good, but can we use regular bacon next time?
Yeah.